Jesus, when he says, I am the bread of life from heaven, he is actually taking manna as his name. He said, I am that ultimate provision. Well, we're going to consider the entire chapter of John 6, 59 verses. Don't be afraid, I'm not going to read you 59 verses. This may be one of the top 2 or 3 most famous miracles that Jesus is known for. And again, it's so magnificent that it can draw your attention away from what it's actually about. Jesus has taken a small lunch of 5 loaves and 2 fish and turned them into a meal that fed 5,000 people with 12 baskets of leftovers. Here's where we'll pick up the story. When the people saw the sign that he had done, they said, "This is indeed the prophet who has come into the world." Perceiving that they were about to come and take him by force to make him king, Jesus withdrew again to the mountain by himself. Now think about this. This seems like the moment of moments. Finally, these people want Jesus to be their king. That's what he came to be. He came to be their king, and yet he runs away and hides. And you should say, what? Why would he do that? Now keep listening. When they found him on the other side of the sea, they said to him, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" And Jesus answered, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you are seeking me not because you saw signs, but because you ate your fill of the loaves. Do not work for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For on him God the Father has set his seal." Jesus has said, you experience the miracle, but you didn't see it as a sign. You didn't see what it was pointed to. You just want me to be king because you think I will deliver to you an eternal buffet. You're just running after me because your bellies are filled. You don't see that I am what you need, not just physically, but spiritually. They said to him, "Then what must we do to be doing the works of God?" And Jesus said, "Just believe." Now this is amazing what happens next. They said to him, "Then what sign do you do that we may see and believe you? What work would you perform?" Seriously? He's just done this amazing miracle. Our fathers ate manna in the wilderness, as written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. And Jesus said to them, "Truly, I truly say, it was not Moses who gave you bread from heaven, but my Father gives you true bread from heaven." Saying, I am the bread of life. Now, I want you to think for a moment. Jesus, when he says, I am the bread of life from heaven, he is actually taking manna as his name. He's referring back to Numbers 11. Don't you remember that moment when the children of Israel had nothing to eat because they were migrating, and God sent bread from heaven that would appear like dew in the morning on the grass. He said, I am that ultimate provision. But unlike that bread that you'd have to gather day after day, if you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you'll never be thirsty. You'll never be hungry again. I am the bread that you need. You know, the response of the Jews was, here it is, verse 41, this is very sad. So the Jews grumbled about him because he said, I am the bread that came down from heaven. And they said, "Is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How does he say, 'I have come down from heaven'?" And Jesus answered, "Do not grumble among yourself. Here is Jesus, the bread of life, being rejected once again." I have to say this. Many in the crowd there were like us. They thought of themselves as religious. They would have named themselves believers in God. They were people who would go to the temple. They would give their offerings. But they rejected the Messiah when he stood in front of them. Formal religion is not enough. Do you entrust everything you are to the Messiah, Jesus?